Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cynthia. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing us how to do the sewing of this typical funnel corset. Last week I did the drafting, and I want to use this opportunity to thank all my new subscribers. I want to say welcome to Listiana Fashions, and thank you for subscribing. All right, so if you have also been old here and you've not subscribed, please do well by hitting the notification bell after you have subscribed, and also like, share our video. So this is the sewing aspect of this funnel corset. The video is very long, so I had to do some of them. I had to speed it a little so that I could be able to to teach you well. All right, so I was through with joining the inner parts of this funnel corset. This is the inner part, and the first one I did was the lining part. So the tutorial might look a little bit scattered, but I want you to understand it. Okay, from the cutting we did last week, I want you to understand it, don't get confused. So this is the main material. I'm using a plain damask. All right, and so now this is the outer part. That is the area that has the corset mesh. So I will just start joining. I did the joining of the front. All right, and so as you can see, now when you get to the up of that side, you should also make sure it is aligning with the upper side. I had to notch so that I will not miss where to join. All right, so once I was done with that, I kept that aside for ironing. So this is where the boning is going to be, at the back side where your eyelet is going to sit. I already have this video on the first time I taught normal corset. Okay, you can just go back and watch it. So this is just watch what I'm doing here. So the first part is the boning, then the second and the third part I'll be putting an extra boning, leaving a space on the center of the material you see. Now as you can see, there's a space there. So that space is where your eyelet is going to sit. Okay, so I made a video of that before. So that space is where your eyelet is going to sit. So I didn't say much about it here. So now this is the back side. That's the main fabric. All right, so I'm going to join it. That's where that place you saw me putting bone is actually the center back. So if you are cutting yours, make sure that part is a material, not a corset mesh. All right, you wouldn't want to do it on a corset mesh. All right, so now I'm going to join the center back to the center part, to the side back. So once I was done with that, I'm not going to get that one I added boning on and match it together, so you can see how it is now. So this is how I'm going to join it. You can see what I'm doing. I'll join it this way. All right, so once I was done with joining this way, I'll go and fold what I just showed you now. So let's sew it, then I'll show you what to do so that you can be able to get a perfect and a finished work on that part. So now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take an iron. I'm going to fold in a little on this part and then fold in a little on that part. So if you are putting your bone, make sure there's a space, there's an ½ inch. So now I have done that. I'm going to fold in this way and sew. I started from the center so that there won't be fold by the time I'm through with the joining. So this is how I do my back parts, where the eyelet is going to sit. That's how I do it. Okay, so this helps to give it structure and that hardness. Okay, so once we were done with this, I'll go ahead and do the second one. You can see how strong it's looking. So try it out. You can try it out on any kind of corset, not just on corset mesh. Now I got to the front part. This part, I don't know, but let's say it's optional. No, it's not optional. You can decide to put your caging. So I did this caging. It's called boss caging. So I'll go ahead now and mark it. Just keep watching what I'm doing, and if you feel like mine is too much, you can decide to do You can decide not to do it the way I'm doing it, but this is how I do mine, and it came out well. So after the marking, I'll just go ahead and start sewing the bust caging. So I'll just allow you to watch it, enjoy yourself, okay? So, and I'll keep explaining as we progress. So once I was done with the boning, I just went ahead to start boning this part also. Now, as you can see, this part I had to join my strips with. I joined my strip. I didn't turn the strip on because I didn't want it to be very bulky. I joined the strip and I added my boning channel. I passed my boning channel through it. Okay, and then once I finish sewing, I will flip over to the other side to get exactly what I want. I don't know if you understand. Okay, you sew and flip to the other side. But if you think you have another method of doing this, why not? You can go ahead and do the method you want. Okay, so this is the method I used on this. So I went ahead to run the bonings on the corset mesh. Now the corset mesh is not single. I doubled it. Okay, I used the light one, so I doubled it because I didn't want it looking too light, so I had to double it. All right, so you just keep watching, relax, and enjoy yourself. So I was done with boning the corset mesh. So this is the cup. So I went ahead to iron the bust caging I did. So you go ahead and iron your bust caging, but I added my light wording to it because you don't want to leave it that way so that it will not poke someone or maybe start coming up. You want it looking, not really that, I want it looking neat and flat. We don't want it showing in front, showing on the main fabric. Okay, so even after putting this light wording and ironing it, I also added foreign cup, foreign breast cup now to the main fabric because it was an effect I was actually looking for. So once I was done with this, I will iron more. So you can, if you have a steam iron, you can use. So this is me here ironing. So I did a lot of ironing here. So this is really hard work. So iron very well, and as you are also ironing, try to bend your bone very well so that you can be able to cough very well. Okay, you know your bone is made of plastic, so with the heat on it, it can also what bend to the way you want. So just iron neatly. So I went on and I kept ironing, and then once I was done with my ironing, we proceeded into turning up our work with the main fabric. So enjoy your view. So once I was done with all those boning, it's now to cover the upper side. Now I did the same thing here. I brought my strip, I folded it into two and stitch it. I didn't turn the strip up, okay? I stitched it that way. And now on the one side of the strip, I started sewing from, okay? Then, but the strip, there's boning on it already, so I just use it to sew it round. Now I'm going to flip it the same way I did when I was sewing those boning. All right, so see, you can see me flipping it to the right side. So if you are, the strip I collected was like 2 inches size of strip, fold into two and sew, not turning up sewing, no, just sew it like that. Okay, now I added my boning into the strip I made, making sure that there was an allowance on my material. So from the little allowance that was remaining was where I sewed from, so that it could help me flip turn to the other side. So that was exactly what I did here to get that. Okay, most ones I see online is just the boning. They put the boning and they use the material they use the strip to cover. Me, I did mine at once. All right, so this is how it's looking. So this is how it's looking. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the armhole area. So this is the armhole area. I did the same thing. I sewed it. Maybe I think I'm supposed to slow down my work so that you understand what I'm saying. So I did the same thing here too, to cover up the armhole area. All right, so I just wish and I believe you understand what I am saying here. Okay, so once I was done with this, I went ahead to cover up all the rough parts, and also on the down part of the top, I went ahead to use my bias strip to also to fold them in to make sure they are looking neat. All right, you can go ahead and keep enjoying the video. So at the end, this is what we got. You can see how that bust part is just standing on its own. So right now, I'll go ahead to finish up what's the inner one. Okay, I will add my foreign cup to the main material, the one that has light wording on it. I'll go ahead and add foreign cup to it. Here I've not added it, but I'm going to add it. Okay, I'm going to add a foreign cup to it. So this is the foreign cup. I went ahead to add it because there's this kind of thing I'm looking for, and so the only way to get it was to add the foreign cup on it. So this is how I do mine. All right, so if you decide adding the foreign cup is too much for you, you can choose the one that works for you. Okay, so once I was done with adding the foreign cup on both sides, I did all my trimmings, and I also turned up the work. So what I did, I turned up to the other side and followed that princess seam to stitch it, to hold it on the fabric. This is how I do it too. All right, so now I am going to turn up the work. We'll go ahead to turn up the work. So see, this is it here. I trimmed my armhole, did my notches, and then we turn up the work, and I will turn it from the down part. Now that down part, you'll be using your strip, your bias strip, to fold it when the time comes. Okay, so this is me trimming the foreign cup so that it won't interfere when I turn up the work. So this is the finished look of the caging. All right, you can see how it is very strong, stylish, standing very well, and also looking beautiful. You can see the work very neat, as you can see, just very neat. All right, so now it's time to turn up the down part. So I did that. Now I started joining both the inner one and the outer one together. Now use your needle and thread to do this, okay, but make sure you place very well before you do. So I placed it well, and then I started to tack together. So once I was finished with tacking, I wore it one of my girls to see if it came out fine, and sure, it came out very beautiful. And this corset, we did this in marathonly. It wasn't easy actually. We did marathonly because there was some work we are doing in the office, so we had to sew it marathonly because we wanted to show you how to do this. I want to keep my promise. Like I said, we were going to sew and show you. That was the reason why we had to do it marathonly. We made this clothes under a space of 5 hours. You can't imagine it. Under a space of 5 hours, we sewed this clothes. So this is how beautiful it's looking. All right, so if this tutorial was very helpful, and I went ahead to put my highlights, okay, if the tutorial was very helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you've not subscribed. Like I said, we are out here to give you the best. I remain Listiana Fashion. See you next time. Bye.